Hello and welcome. Today we're going to move some files from one Git repository to another along with the commit history. This problem seems to come up quite often, so here is a simple example. I have a private repo for stuff I'm working on that is not part of any particular project. Nothing in it is ready for prime time or even guaranteed to work. It's really just a coding playground. I have another repo of utilities that are also not part of any project, but these are completed and working. This repo is public and everything in it is free and open source. I've just finished a couple of Python scripts for Blender that others may find useful. So I'm going to copy these scripts along with their commit history to the public repo and remove them from the playground. There are a few options for doing this in Git. Git-log can create a patch file with commit history from the source repo, and that patch file can then be applied to the target repo. Git-subtree can create a new branch of commits in the source repo, and then the branch can be merged to the target repo. Git-filter-branch can filter the source repo to include only the commits we want to copy, and then they can be merged to the target. But this feature is widely found to be slow and hard to configure, making it real dangerous to use. I've included links to solutions using these techniques in the video description. We're going to use git-filter-repo, which was written to address the failings of git-filter-branch. It's simpler to use, much faster, and is now the recommended approach for rewriting commit history. Okay, so I've opened a session of my WSL Ubuntu instance, and the first thing we have to do is install git-filter-repo. As of this recording, it's not yet part of the base Git package, so it must be installed separately. Now that's installed, we're ready to clone the repos. As it happens, each repo is in a different hosting account, authenticated using SSH. Here's my SSH config file with the account credentials. The playground repo is in the Eleanor account, so let's clone it using the appropriate hostname. And the public repo is in my account. Now let's prepare the source repo. Git-filter-repo is very flexible and has many options for rewriting commit history. What we're doing here is a very simple example of its facility. But unlike creating a patch file with git-log or a branch of commits with git-subtree, git-filter-repo modifies the commit history directly, and we do not want to push these modifications upstream to the remote host. So as a precaution, the upstream host remote is automatically removed when the repo is modified and must be restored manually if pushing upstream is ultimately required. Let's remove all but the Blender directory from the playground repo. Now you can see only the Blender directory remains, and the upstream remote has been automatically removed so we can't push upstream. Now, as I mentioned, my playground repo is in a different hosting account, so the user history must be changed. Git-filter-branch includes an option to change authors and committers with the use of a mapping file. For the current user list, we'll use git-log to list the name and email address of commit author followed by the committer, and then use sort to filter out the duplicates. Now let's create a map file. Each line of the file includes the target name and email address, followed by the pattern to match in the commit history. In this case, we want to change all the commits by matching the old email address. And now we can use the mail map option of git-filter-repo to change the user history. So now we can see our user history has been changed. This repo now includes only the commit history we want copied to the public repo. Now it's time to merge these commits to the public repo. Here's the log of the public repo currently. The first thing we have to do is add the playground repo as an upstream remote and fetch. Now we can merge from the remote, but the source repo shares no common history with the target repo. These histories are unrelated, and by default, Git won't let us merge them. We have to confirm we want to allow this with the Allow Unrelated Histories option. Now when we look at the log, we can see our current branch has 2 unrelated parents, with the new commits having no origin in this repo. We can also squash the incoming history to a single commit. To demonstrate, I'll undo the previous merge by resetting the branch pointer. Now I'll do the merge again, but squash the commit history this time. In a squash, merge won't do the commit automatically, so I'll do it here. Now the log shows no divergent history path since only a single commit has been added. While I will sometimes do squash commits, I don't care for multiple history paths. So when I can, I prefer to rebase first. Let's reset the branch again. And now let's pull the commit history from the source repo into a new branch. Now I'm going to rebase this branch of commits onto our main branch. As the log shows, the new commits were added to this branch as a linear history with no divergent paths. Now we can merge these changes into the main branch. Since the new branch was rebased on main, the main branch pointer was fast-forwarded, and the commit history is seamless with no indication of a merge. We can, however, add a merge commit to mark the change. Let's reset the branch and merge again without fast-forwarding this time. Now we see the new commits as a separate path with the merge commit at the head. Okay, we've copied the Blender scripts to the public repo, so let's remove the Playground repo remote and the branch of new commits. Let's do a little garbage collection to clean up the repo and push it back to the origin. Now the scripts have been copied and we're finished with the public repo. So now we need to remove the copied scripts from the Playground repo. First, let's get a fresh clone of it. Here's what it looks like right now. As before, I'll use git-filter-repo, but this time with the invert paths option to filter out the Blender directory. And now we can see the Blender directory has been removed and we're ready to push upstream. Git-filter-repo removed the origin remote, so I'll add it back in. Let's do a little cleanup. And then push it upstream. The commit history is no longer consistent with the remote, so we have to force the push. And there you have it. That's how you can move files from one repository to another using git-filter-repo. This tool has many other options, and I've included the links to its repository, as well as some of the other topics covered here in the description. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you next time.